wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I heaver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's heavering to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm working, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing old to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door.
Comes the sun, here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish, don't know if I'm being wise, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air, in the whisper of the tree. Love is in the air, in the thunder of the sea. And I don't know if I'm just dreaming, don't know if I feel safe, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when you call out my name. Love is in the air, love is in the air. Oh, love is in the air, in the rising of the sun. Love is in the air, when the day is nearly done. And I don't know if you're illusion, don't know if I see it true, but you're something that I must believe in, and you're there when I reach out for you. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish, don't know if I'm being wise, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
and gentlemen, can I ask you to stand, please? Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure and privilege to present to you for the first time the new Mr. and Mrs. Hayes. Big round of applause. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, would you now pray silence for grace, which will be given by Mr. David Newman.
Lord God, we thank you for bringing us together for this very special occasion to celebrate with Ian and Rebecca their wedding. We thank you for friends, for family, for all those that we can meet up with today. And we thank you for the food that we are to enjoy. Thank you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you very much. Now, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you hope you have enjoyed the meal and the drink so far. We do have a few speeches for you this evening before we get on with the dancing. Before we get on with the speeches, there is one little bit of tradition that I would like to do. When I was serving the champagne for the top table, ready for the speeches, I made sure I got hold of the cork, because it is considered lucky if the bride keeps the cork from her wedding day, providing there is a silver coin in it. The silver coin is meant to guarantee prosperity through the rest of the marriage. It means you don't actually need Ian. I have no idea whether it works, Rebecca. Can I present that to you? You're far too young to know what the coin is, but your dad's not.
It's a half crown, isn't it?
It's a half a crown, so well done. So let's hope you never need it, but do keep it anyway. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is tradition for the father of the bride to open the batting as far as the speeches. Would you please put your hands together for Jim?
Okay, I can sit down now then. Okay, well first I'd like to give a really sincere thank you to everybody here for coming to help and celebrate Rebecca and Ian's wedding with us. And some of you have travelled so far to be here, and I believe that New Zealand deserves a very special mention. So thank you, Anne and Mike, for coming so far to be with us. And next, I'd like to give a very warm welcome to our Australian friends who've travelled from Sydney and Canberra and Perth to be with us today. And we've also got people from Italy, Scotland, the north of England, Wales, and and irrespective of where you've come from, we really do appreciate you all being here. I'd also like to thank all the people who've helped to arrange this wonderful event, and in particular Maggie and Don, who have helped pick the venue. I was going to just thank Ian's dad, David, for tasting the wine. But now I believe he had a very big role in controlling the bus to the event today. So an extra special thanks to David for that. And to Jenny and Luke for coming along and tasting the food. And for Luke, that's a really wonderful wedding cake.
did.
It really
Thank
is
you.
great. Okay, so as the father of the bride now, I can really indulge and speak about my beautiful daughter, Rebecca, this wonderful bride here, and tell you a little bit about her and how the events arose to bring us here today together. So, going right back, Rebecca has always been, even as a child, somebody who really appreciates the moment. Whether it was a birthday or Christmas or a holiday or a family event, she always used to brim with excitement before it and then really enjoy the moment when it happened. And I think today she might be doing just the same thing. And as well as that, she was always a really responsible person, and she gave us a lot of support. And when she was 14 and we were moving to Australia, while her sisters were saying, Dad's having a midlife crisis and he's taking us halfway around the world, Rebecca was actually really quite supportive towards this and treated the whole thing as an adventure. But it wasn't until she was about 15 or 16 that we noticed that she had started to develop a really special talent. And this talent was partly natural, but also with diligent daily practice, she became better and better at it. And I'm obviously talking about the marathon telephone conversation. So, because Rebecca could come in from school each day and pick up a phone and call a friend she'd probably only seen 10 minutes before and have the longest telephone conversation and block up the entire line for the rest of the family. And the introduction of the cordless phone allowed her to take this to a much higher level, because then she could go to the other end of the house, completely unknown to everybody else, and indulge in this practice forever. And one of her favorite places to go and practice this great talent was actually to Nicole's bedroom, which is right at the end of the house. And in Nicole's bedroom, she had a small wooden desk and a small wooden chair. And one day, Rebecca was sitting, talking on the phone, and she noticed that Nicole had put this small model lizard right in the middle of the desk. And as Rebecca was chatting to a friend, she noticed this lizard and thought, this looks very, very real. And she went to pick it up. And to this day, we're concerned about her friends hearing the scream when this lizard darted below the desk and was completely real. And that's a true story. But moving on, she wasn't just wasting her time on telephone conversations, because she also did very well at school, went on to UWA, which is the University of Western Australia, specialised in human resources, and then she went on with several very good jobs, both here in the UK and out in Australia. And while she was here in the UK, she was working with companies like Deloitte and the Scottish Widows. And when she was back in Australia, she was actually working for the WACA, which is the West Australian Cricket Association. And part of her responsibilities were to deal with the Australian cricket team. But Rebecca's got no interest in cricket, and she didn't know who they were anyway. And one day, one Australian cricketer called Justin Langer, who you may have heard of, because he was on the Australian team. I don't know much about it either, to be honest. Anyway, he came into our office and she said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Justin Langer." Fair enough, you know. So more or less 2 days later, he came in again, but this time he was wearing a hat. So she said, "What's your name?" He said, "It's still Justin Langer." But with this, and then Rebecca went on to develop her own business, where she was giving this very, dealing with, as a consultant for human resources through, and mainly dealing with CEOs. So she's turned into this very professional young lady, and she's got expectations. And she decided she would go on a coaching course. Now, this coaching course that she wanted to go on had to be prestigious. So she decided that the University of Sydney would be the best place to do it. But to her disappointment, the University of Sydney were quite unprofessional when she made this application. And they ignored her emails, and they ignored her phone calls, And then eventually, when she pushed them really hard, they told her that because the course had been oversubscribed, that it was only open to psychologists. So Rebecca was very angry about this. So she made a very quick call to a private company running a similar course. And she was actually got onto this course with a week to spare. On the second day of that course, she sent us a picture by email of the group of delegates on this course. And she had a little arrow on one end. She said, what do you think of this man second from the right at the back? And that was the very first photo we ever saw of Ian. After that, you never stood a chance, Ian. But happily, the University of Sydney were highly unprofessional and not very good, and otherwise we wouldn't be here today. So we have since that time got to know Ian. He's a really wonderful person to join our family. We've also got to know Ian's family and friends, and the warmth and love in this room is really exceptional. And we have shared some wonderful times with them all, and we are so happy that Ian and his family have joined with our family. And you only have to look at Ian and Rebecca to realize just how much they really love each other. So I would like you all to take a glass and raise it up and give a very big toast to Rebecca and Ian. Rebecca and Ian. And that's all from me.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you now like to put your hands together for the second toast of the evening, which is being given by your groom, Ian.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I'd like to thank Jim for his very kind words. And can you just put your hands together one more time for his fantastic speech, please? Rebecca's gone to great lengths to keep her dress secret from me for the past few months, including having to bring it over on the plane. I'm sure you'd agree with me, she looks absolutely amazing tonight. Thank you, John. Rebecca, you're breathtakingly beautiful. And as I watched you walk up the aisle, I just thought how elegant you looked. And I was just so proud that I was going to be marrying you today. I have quite a lot of people to thank, but before I do, I want to tell you a little bit more about us. One down. It became apparent quite quickly after I met Rebecca what I was going to need to do if I was going to win her heart. And in fact, it wasn't so much what I was going to have to do, it was more who I was going to have to be. And the person I was going to need to be was Mark Darcy from the film Bridget Jones's Diary. If you didn't already know, Rebecca's probably watched Bridget Jones's Diary more times than anybody else on the planet. And of course, Mark Darcy was the character played by Colin Firth. So I thought it would only be right for me to include a few of Mark Darcy's more well-known quotes in my speech tonight. Hang on a minute. Such as the one where Bridget says to Mark, "Wait a minute, nice boys don't kiss like that." Hang on. I don't have enough hands. To which To which Mark replies and says, "Oh yes, they do." So what? That was the hardest bit of the whole speech, actually. I think it'd be fair to say that neither Rebecca nor I went on to the course that we went on in Sydney in August 2010 thinking that we would meet someone. But we started chatting, I think, in the very first coffee break. And there was something that really captivated me about Rebecca. She's obviously very cute. She had this strangely familiar accent, which was sort of part Scottish, there's a bit of Geordie thrown in there, I think, and a little bit of Australian in there as well. And from the very beginning, it was clear that we could just chat for hours and hours and hours. And indeed, we spent the next 2 months chatting for hours on the phone because we lived 3 hours apart. But when we did meet up again in October 2010 and started going out, I knew that Rebecca was the girl for me. There's one moment that sticks in my mind, and it was when we decided to tell each other by email what all our weaknesses and all our character flaws were. And when I say it out loud, it appears a somewhat strange thing to do. Particularly as we were still courting, but I sort of figured that it was probably the sort of thing that Mark Darcy would do, so I thought I'd go along with it. And I remember thinking to myself, do I tell the truth and hope that honesty would outweigh any damage that I did to my carefully crafted image? Or, or do I just make them up? You know, a bit like you do in a job interview. You know, we've all heard the one about, you know, my biggest weakness is I'm a perfectionist, that kind of thing. Obviously, I chose honesty, which is the right thing to do. And Rebecca said something in her email back to me, which has always made me laugh whenever I've read it, and she's probably wondering what it was, because I've still got the email. And if ever Rebecca sounded like Bridget Jones, this was it. And you know how Bridget Jones used to talk in the third person, so describing herself, Rebecca said, "Drivels even more rubbish when nervous, and often resorts to incessant talking, resulting in truth being blurted out bluntly and at inappropriate times." Without doubt, the last 3 years have been the happiest 3 years of my life, and Rebecca, I have you to thank for that. Rebecca understands me like no one ever has, and it can be quite disconcerting when she actually tells me what I'm thinking, and she's actually right. I think what's most exciting is that what we believe in and how we want to lead our lives is so closely matched, and I'm just so excited about our future lives together. I said earlier that there's a few people I want to thank, and I want to start by thanking all of you. Whether you've come from a long way away or just around the corner, having each of you here is what has made today so very special so far. I also want to particularly thank those people that have travelled a very long distance. Anne and Mike have already been mentioned. I'd like to thank everyone who's travelled from Australia. Having done that flight 3 times in the last 12 months, I know what a terrible flight it is. So thank you to Ivan and Marie and Greg and Kelly, Mel and Charlene, Rachel, Darren, Rob, Heidi, Flynn, Max and Lily at the back, obviously Locke and Anne from Italy. And I shouldn't forget Rebecca's family too, who've travelled from the other side of the world. For some, it's particularly inconvenient, as it has clashed with the traditional annual family ski holiday. And I think for possibly for Kate, Chris and Louis, it was kind of a 50-50 for a while which one they would choose. But thankfully they chose the wedding. To Jim and Kath, I want to say a very special thank you to you. Not only have you allowed me to marry your favourite daughter, is that the time? I must be out of here. But you have also made me feel so very welcome in your family, and it now feels like I have family in Australia, which is very special for me, so thank you very much. And to try and recover some ground, to Kate and to Sarah and Nicole, you're all the best sisters-in-law that I could possibly wish for, so thank you, and I love you all. To Mum and to Dad, thank you for everything that you've done for me over the last 36 years. At the risk of sounding a little bit cliched, I am who I am thanks to both of you, so thank you very much. And to Jenny, you're a wonderful sister, and thank you for all the love and support that you always give me as well. I'm getting there, so bear with me. To Darren and to Rob, thank you for being my best mates in Australia. It's a privilege to be in business with both of you, and I love the fact that our business represents what we believe in, and that we make such a difference to people's lives on a daily basis. And Darren, if it wasn't for you arranging for the three of us to go on that coaching course, then I would have never met Rebecca, so we owe you a thank you too. I also want to thank David, my uncle, for what he did in the church today and his sermon. As a number of you have said to us, it really was a very special words that you gave, and Rebecca and I were saying in the car how they really just resonated with us, and particularly the part about coming home was just absolutely spot on. So thank you very much. Rebecca and I also want to say a very big thank you to the wedding planning committee, which really consists of all our parents, our sisters, Chris, Louis. Your involvement has made it even more special for us, and you've all put a lot of time in. So thank you very much from both of us. So I thought that really I should draw my speech towards its finish with a Mark Darcy quote. And there's really one that stands out, and that's the one where Mark says to Bridget, "I like you very much." And Bridget then replies to Mark, "Apart from the smoking and the drinking, the vulgar mother," excuse me, Kath, "and the verbal diarrhea." And Mark replies, "No, I like you very much, just as the way you are." And that's exactly how I feel about Rebecca. Finally, to my new wife, Mrs. Hayes. You're beautiful, you're loving, you're thoughtful, and you're funny. And I'm so glad that we found each other, and I'm so looking forward to spending the rest of my life with you. Could I ask you to raise your glasses? To Rebecca.
I might move over this side of the room as planned. Sorry, you'll have to move back. But what's happened today is I've had my entire speech destroyed by everybody else's speech. So you pretty much know the whole story now. But a couple of things I'd like to say. We love England, and this is our first time here as a family. And my father was born in England and moved to Australia in the 1950s and spoke very highly of this country. And the first thing I did was I had a pickled egg and pork pie when I arrived from France on the Eurotube. But look, it's a wonderful country, and for years I've spoken to Ian about this place. And we had a meal the other night, and somebody said, "Why did you pick Rob to be your best man? You've known him for less than 10 years." And I said, "No, I think it's been more than 10 years. We've just worked out it's actually a couple months shy of 10 years. And, I am honoured that he did pick me to be the best man. When I first met Ian, the first thing I said to Heidi was he's incredibly British. And, he reminds me of my father, and he's very appropriate. And I think between Darren and myself and all of our other mates, with over the last almost 10 years, we've destroyed that really. So he truly is one of us. But he is still very British, and that's what we do love about Ian. The whole you've heard snippets of the coaching, the life coaching, and I think one of the things that David said today in the sermon was very true. How Ian and Rebecca came together, and it's been brought up several times. And I think it's one of those things every now and then you hear about people who sort of just by coincidence bump into each other, and it just happens. And I heard the story about how Rebecca, even the photo, I'd never heard of that, of sending that to Jim, and I think that's remarkable. And I know that when we looked at life coaching as a direction we wanted to go with our business, and I was opposed to it, I guess. It was such a different concept, and Darren said, no, we should go to this life coaching. And Darren, if you know Darren researches everything, and he came up with multiple options, and we, out of literally hundreds of options, we picked this particular company in Sydney, which is quite a way away from where we live in Canberra. And we all went down there, and we in a group of about 60 people, we did the course. And I remember on the way home from this 4-day course, or 5-day course, or 4 days? 3 days. 3-day course, thank you.
Felt like a long time.
Felt like a long time.
Short too.
Yes. I remember we were in the car and we were all talking about our different experiences, and I remember very clearly Ian talking about Rebecca and how lovely she was, and how this she was, and how that she was, and he tended to go on and on and on. And we were in the car for 3 hours, and it was quite remarkable. What I think what was more remarkable was when we got back to Canberra. Part of our ongoing training was the coaches had to become a coach. So part of that process was that we had a listener who would listen into the coaching sessions, and we would have a coach who would obviously do the coaching stuff, and we'd have a victim, which would be the person being coached. And by sheer coincidence, and I still believe to this day that Ian slipped a £10 note to the, or a $50 note at the time. But to this day, it amazes me that Ian was the listener, and Rebecca was the victim, or the person being coached, and I was the coach. So that was remarkable. Out of 60-odd people, for that to happen with no control. So that started. That was, I guess, the beginning of some conversations, and it was quite hilarious. Rebecca, and you're quite right, Jim. I loved our conversations. I must admit, it was one of the things with the coaching, because we lived like we were in Canberra and Rebecca was in Sydney and in Perth a couple of times. We would have to do this coaching over the phone, and Ian would have to be in the other room. And we'd worked out our telephones, and he'd dial in and he would take notes down on whether I was coaching well or not. And but Rebecca can talk. But it's you meet people, and I've met a lot of you today actually. And there's some people you can just talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. And we covered so many topics, and then eventually we got onto that special man. And I think it was about halfway through the coaching session I said to Ian, perhaps you shouldn't listen in anymore to these coaching sessions, because we were in fact talking about Ian after a while. So, but what was very interesting, though, at the end of the session, Ian would come up to me quite sheepishly, and we were in the same office, and he'd walk up and say, "So, how's Rebecca?" I said, "Oh yeah, she's fine. You had a session today. I noticed it in your diary." And I said, "Yeah, it went really well." And what did you talk about? "Oh, the rain and this and that." But it was clearly at that stage, Ian was head over heels, and we talk about I have known Ian for 10 years. He does actually feel like a brother. I have 3 sisters, so I can say I have he feels like a brother without offending anybody. But it's been quite wonderful having you in my life and in our lives, and the change I've seen in 3 years or 4 years. I'm not good with numbers and names, Jim. Sorry. I have seen the change in Ian, and if anything, I've seen Ian become the person that we always felt he was, and Rebecca has just made him such a great guy. He was a great guy in the beginning. He's a fantastic guy now, so thank you. It's good for our business. I'd like to just I'd like to just finish off by saying how honoured I am to become to be the best man today. And Ian said to me, 3 or 4 months ago, do you want to go and have a beer after work, which was quite unusual. We don't do that an awful lot. And said, we'll go to the local yacht club to have a beer, and sat there, and I'm thinking, oh, God, because Ian's quite straightforward about things. I'm thinking, what have I done now? What's he going to tell me? If I stepped over the line somewhere, and he asked me, and I must admit I was gobsmacked and honoured. And you're a great mate, and it's a real pleasure to be in business with you. And one of the things I did want to just quickly touch on is one of the things I love about being in business with these 2 guys is one of the things that we talk about is our heart, serving people. And one of the things that we've done and we're starting to build in our business is trying to serve the community. And in 2012, at a conference in Brisbane, Ian and I were sitting in the plenary session at the close of this 3-day event, and they talked about this thing called the Future 2 ride, and it was a ride from Sydney to Melbourne. And to give you an idea of the distance, I did actually convert it to miles, so most of you would understand it, and I can't see it for looking, but it was in kilometres, it's about 600 kilometres, so whatever that converts, 400 miles. So it's quite a long ride anyway. So we were quite impressed, and we loved the idea that financial planners would go out and cycle halfway across Australia to raise money for underprivileged youth of Australia. And so at the end of the session, Ian came up and said, "Oh, this is fantastic. It ticks all the boxes. There's the whole health aspect, and there's the serving the community and raising funds and so forth." And I said, "Yeah, I agree. I think it's fantastic. Actually, I put our name down for that." And I remember Ian looking at me going, "Right, that's fantastic." The only problem is that neither of us had done any road cycling at all. I think the last time I rode a bike was 20 years prior, and I think yours was probably something similar. So we started training, and that was in February, and towards about I think it was August or September we did this ride, and we actually ended up doing half the ride, which was from Canberra to Jindabyne, which was somewhere in here, a long way. Anyway, it's,
About 300 kilometres.
it's
300
sorry, it's on the
kilometres.
other page. I should have had the cards. Anyway, look, it was a long way, and we did that. We raised some great money for charity. And the even more amazing thing is that we're actually doing it in 4 weeks' time, the same ride in reverse. So there you go. So anyway, I'd like to also just everybody to be upstanding, and I'd like to raise have a toast to the unofficial bridesmaids. So to Kate, Sarah, Nicole, and Jenny.
Kate, Sarah, Nicole, and Jenny.
Thank you. That's about it.
Good.
We do have some telegraphs, so I was going to share this with Darren because he does love talking.
Unlike Beck.
Yes, unlike Beck. I'll let you go first.
Good evening. For those who don't know me, I'm the third person in a relationship. That would be the partnership we have, which is the business partnership, rather than the newly formed married. Very shy as I am. We have a couple of emails, which is the modern form of Telegram, for those who are not familiar with email. Gosh, I wish I wasn't. Okay, this is from Ross Neville. Sorry?
He's called Nevi.
Nevi. This is from Nevi.
His parents are just here.
His parents are just here. Would they like to stand?
They're probably worried about what the message is going to be.
It's been vetted, don't worry.
Yeah, it depends on what it says.
Every second word's missing.
I'll just fill in.
Yeah.
Well, the time has come. My lovely is to be married. That would be you, Ian. Well, come along. Oh, sorry. No, you've come a long way since the old days, and our chats about meeting Prince Charming. Can't be you. He is Prince Charming, though, isn't he?
He is.
He is. We noticed that a very long time ago. This is still from Nev. We haven't finished yet. Have I told you how much I love reading in public? God. Well, now, you've got him. Whatever that means.
He said it again.
It kind of reminds me of what Dave said. Yeah, you gave me a microphone.
I didn't actually.
What was it? Alter him? Yeah. Well, now you've got him. So big hugs and kisses to you, Beck. Hope you have the most amazing day. You deserve it. Much love to you and Ian. XOXO. Oh, I meant to give you them.
Yes, I think so.
It's all right, later.
You're next.
Yes, and I've got to Rebecca and Ian, as you begin a new chapter in your lives together, we wish you much happiness for your years ahead. Our thoughts and love are with you on your wedding day, Roz, Graham, Kate and Claire.
Ah, that's nice.
Yes, lovely. Sorry.
This is from Mrs. Nevi.
This is from
Jenny.
Jenny.
This is from Jenny Neville.
Another Neville.
Hi, Beck and Ian. Did I get that wrong? Oh, is this is a sister or brother or something?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Ross's sister.
Okay. Hi, we'll start again. Hi, Beck and Ian. Sending you many warm wishes for a most beautiful ceremony tomorrow. We'll convert that. For a beautiful ceremony today. May you have a together full of love and bliss. Wishing I was there in person, but couldn't afford to get... No, sorry. Should I start again?
And so I think so.
But you know you're in my thoughts and heart. Love you and the groom and all the nail-ons. Love, Jen.
Nice. Rebecca and Ian, congratulations to you on your wedding day. We think you make a beautiful couple. We're very sorry that we can't be with you today. Have a most wonderful celebration and don't forget to have a drink for us Aussies who are very much with you in our thoughts. May the happiness you feel today last a lifetime. Love and very best wishes from Lynn, Neil Morrison and Fiona and Paul Spedding.
That one's particularly impressive because it was handwritten.
It was.
Which is very rare today.
And it does say Telegram at the top. That's great.
I think Greg actually hand-delivered it from Australia.
Oh, well
Can you
done.
thank him
Courier Greg, thank you for that one.
for couriering the
For
telegram?
the telegram couriering. It was a bit slow, but... This is from Sue and Chris Hales.
Just
Hello.
Diane's daughter.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Are you worried?
I don't know that word. Hello, you two. Just wanted to send all our best wishes for your nuptials. That was not pre-nuptials. Interesting way of saying it, isn't it? We shall be thinking of you and we'll raise a glass to toast to you. Can't wait to hear all about how it goes and hopefully see lots of photos. I'm sure they will. There's been a few. Yeah, it was, but it was easy. Hope the sun shines on Friday, and didn't it?
Yeah.
Weren't we blessed with unbelievable
Yeah.
weather?
Yeah.
Lots of love, Sue, Chris, Elliot, and Megan.
Yeah,
Or
that's
Megan,
nice.
as Ian would say.
You two finish it?
That's it.
That's the official ones, Mel and... no. Charlene, have you got the unofficial ones? Yeah, I'm sure you have. But you know what? We've been told to sit down now.
Yeah. I wanted to thank my brother-in-law, Luke, who's kind of right in the middle here, for making this amazing wedding cake. And to know that you were making this cake was so reassuring for us because we knew we were in very capable hands. So thank you. I know how much time it took, so thank you very, very much on behalf of both of us. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to cut the cake to see if we can get the knife into it. That would be rather good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will do it on the count of three. They will stay there for as long as you want to take a photograph. So if you miss it to start with, don't worry. Are you ready? Okay, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. He did put his arm. Yeah. They pressed too hard. What happens if we press too hard?
exactly like you. I've been traveling all around the world, waiting for you to come through. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, keep me satisfied. Someone exactly like you. I've been traveling a hard road, they've been looking for someone exactly like you. I've been carrying my heavy load, waiting for the light to come shining through. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, make me satisfied. Someone exactly like you. I've been doing some soul searching, find out where you were at. I've been up and down the highway, in all kinds of foreign lands. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, keep me satisfied. Someone exactly like you. I've been all around the world, marching to the beat of a different drum. But just lately I have realized, maybe the best is yet to come. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, never satisfied. Someone exactly like you. Someone exactly like you. Someone exactly like you. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, putting up 3 cheers for Ian and Rebecca. Hip hip!
Round the room, please. So ladies on the outside, gentlemen on the inside, facing round the room for the Gay Gordons. Okay, so gentlemen, you've got your partner on the outside. You're going to put your right arm over your partner's shoulder. She puts her hand up to join that hand. Okay, let's dance the Gay Gordons. 4, 2, 3.